WrestleMania season is upon us, and we have a couple of matches that are already set in stone for the grandest stage of them all. Now, despite of all these matches, I am excited to see. I want to lock in on one match for this video, and that is for the Women's World Championship. And we all knew how this match was going to turn out. We knew it was going to be Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky in a triple threat match, which I think is going to be a fantastic match. But the question is, post-Mania, after the dust is settled, after it's all in the history books, what should be the next feud for each competitor in this match? So I got you guys. This is what this video is for. I'm going to try to predict what each feud should be. And before we get started, guys, please do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Also, let me know what you feel in the comment section. And if you rock with this type of video, I will do more of these videos leading up to WrestleMania 41 for other matches. Now, let's just get into this, all right? So we got to start off right with this whole thing, all right? We got to give respect. Champion goes first, and our current Women's World Champion is Io Sky, who won that title on a random episode of Monday Night Raw, which was surprising to me because of how close we are to WrestleMania at that point in time. But I love this for her. Great moment for her. She worked hard. She deserves it. Anytime she gets a win in WWE, because I've been a fan of hers pre-WWE, I'm going to love it every single time. Now, despite of all of that glazing like Krispy Kreme, okay, is there a chance that she can lose this title at WrestleMania? Absolutely. I mean, anytime you go into a title match as a champion, there is a chance that you lose that title. But I think that percentage for her is pretty low. Now, if they make her lose this title, would I love it? Absolutely not. I mean, she just got this title. I mean, to give her a Costco, Sam's Club sample size title run will be highly disrespectful, but I am the same person, admittedly, that says that we don't really need long title runs anymore. So yeah, if they do it, I guess it would make sense as to why they gave her this title on Raw as opposed to at WrestleMania. But I think what her next feud isn't really contingent on whether she retains the title or not. You know, it can change some things going into that feud, but I think it's more so whether they keep her on Raw or move her over to SmackDown, because there has been rumors that there's supposed to be a shakeup or some type of draft post WrestleMania, and that could change a lot of things. I personally think it just makes all the sense in the world to keep her on Raw despite of what happens at Mania. But again, there's a chance that she moves over to SmackDown, and most people would think, well, if she retains the title, she would stay on Raw, right? Yes, I think there is a 99.9% chance that she will stay on Raw, especially since they just introduced that title. But we've seen in the past that just because you're a champion of a certain brand, if you have that title for that brand, that doesn't mean that you and or the title will absolutely stay on that brand. But I hope they would do that. So let's just talk about what will happen with her next after Mania. I think her post-Mania feud should be the same regardless if she wins or loses. And I think that feud should be between her and the Kabuki Warriors when they return. They should absolutely return as heels. Now, the only thing I think that it should change is maybe if Io retains, Kairi and Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors, can come out there and celebrate her and then attack her, and that'll be their turn on her. Or they can come out and cost her this match. Either way, it should definitely be against those two. Now, first and foremost, if she retains the title, we already know what WWE likes to do. It is a requirement for most champions to be involved in a tag team match on a PLE. We've seen it with Seth Rollins last year at WrestleMania. We just seen it with Tiffany Stratton with Trish Stratus. We just saw it multiple times with the Super Saiyan Pastor Cody Rhodes throughout this year. You've seen, going into last year, we've seen him in tons of triple threat or six-man tag matches, and multiple tag matches more than the actual tag teams themselves. So she got to get it out the way. She got to get her requirement. So if that happens, it will be great to see a match with Io and Dakota Kai versus the Kabuki Warriors. I think that'll be great. I think they can create a great storyline within Damage Control. And I felt like they were kind of brewing up to some type of turn happening previously, but some things happened and they probably threw it out the window. So this will be a time to make an interesting storyline revolving around these women. And if they want to, they can have a Kairi versus Dakota Kai feud. If Dakota at some point in time wins that title off of Lyra Valkyria, which I probably think that they wouldn't do yet, but if it does happen, that'll be a great feud between the two of them. And you can have Io versus Asuka for that championship, right? Maybe Asuka gets jealous because she probably should have won that title against Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. That's neither here nor there. But you can have an interesting feud with there. You can have matches in between, like Dakota Kai versus Asuka or Kairi versus Io. I think we can get a ton of really good matches and an interesting storyline at that. And we can't forget that Bayley is on Monday Night Raw. So if they inject her as the storyline progresses, not at the beginning, that will be interesting as well to see where they handle this entire situation. If they move EO to SmackDown, which I think is going to be a terrible idea, and it all depends on what they do as far as the shakeup if it happens. The only person I could think of facing is whoever loses the match between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. And that can be just like a little mini feud going into Backlash at Detroit. And then Tiffany versus Charlotte 2 can happen at SummerSlam. But it kind of feels like a demotion for her. But at the same time, you know, if she goes over there and helps out the women's division, I think that would be great. But for me, I would have her stay on Raw and go against the Kabuki Warriors. I think that story will probably be a lot more interesting than anything else. So next up, we're going to have to talk about the EST, Bianca Belair. And I think this one is pretty cut and dry. There's only so many directions they can go with this because she already has a storyline brewing. Now, depending on whether she retains or not, I think that pretty much changes a lot of things. If she loses the title, it can go two ways. There's only two people who can be responsible. Either Jade Cargill finds out that she is involved in this whole situation with her getting smashed on the car like she fought the Avengers, or Naomi can come up there with the Meta Girls and attack Bianca Belair, and that could turn into a feud with them two. Maybe it'll turn into a tag match with Jade and Bianca versus the Meta Girls, or, you know, they find a third member and they have a 6-woman tag match, something like that. But either way, I think it's going to be between those two, whether Bianca wins the title or not. Honestly, I think that's the only two ways they can go with this. I can't think of anyone else because of the storyline. I feel like she's just so locked in the storyline. I can't see her being involved with anyone outside of the story. It would just kind of be weird. Can they do it? Sure. Then Naomi can interrupt in whatever that match is that she has with someone else. But I think they should really focus on fleshing out the story because they've had it on hold for like 300 years. So I think we're at a point in time that they need to start building up and starting to get to the point where they're wrapping up this storyline. Now, the final person I want to talk about is Rhea Ripley, a person who most of us agree initially probably shouldn't even been in this match. But given the fact that she's one of the most popular women in WWE, they can't leave her off WrestleMania. They can't insert her into a mid-card title match. They're not going to put her into the Charlotte and Tiffany match. So this is all they have for her. And I think this is great for her. You know, I think she has a very low percentage of winning this title. She doesn't need it. She's had it multiple times. People are tired of seeing that visual of her holding the title. And that's no disrespect for her. It's just the way this whole feud with her and Liv Morgan was booked. It was just really weird. And I think both title runs, because of booking, you know, originally when she originally had the Raw Women's Championship, because she was so involved in the Judgment Day stuff, she couldn't really break off into her own. But eventually she did, and this whole thing with Liv Morgan started off great, but started to lose steam, and they stretched it out way too long. I mean, she did have a couple of good matches. When she won the championship, we saw when she had a match against Natalya. That was a great match. I think she had a great match against Zoe Stark. She had a great match against Charlotte Flair. She's a pretty decent match against Becky Lynch. She's had a couple of great matches, you know, despite of all that. But it's just the booking that really did hurt her. Now, she does win the championship. And again, she stays on Monday Night Raw, which I think she shouldn't. I think she should lose and move over to SmackDown. She should be as far away from Liv Morgan as possible, because I think people seeing them next to each other is probably going to give the fans acid reflux, right? We're going to have PTSD and be like, oh God, no, please don't get us back into this feud one more time. So she should go over to SmackDown and have a feud with somebody over there. I don't know if it should be Piper Niven. I don't know if they should move Shayna Baszler over there and she can have a feud with her. Even though that sounds crazy to a lot of people, given maybe Shayna's mic skills, or maybe because they're not interested in her, but that'll be a great way to build up the women's division over there. But if she stays on Raw after losing the title, or not losing the title, but losing a match, she probably can have a feud against Natalya. You know, I think that'll be an interesting non-title feud. I mean, they feuded before, but again, what hurt that feud was the booking of it. But they had a really good match on Monday Night Raw. And if they could find a way to make this make sense, because this time around, Natalya would be a babyface. And, you know, I don't have a problem with a babyface type of match or a feud, as long as it just makes sense. It could just be, hey, I'm the better wrestler, and that's the story. That's it. It doesn't have to be deeper than that. But at this point, Rhea Ripley should definitely go to SmackDown. She shouldn't be on Raw. She shouldn't win the title. I like Rhea. I know how much of a superstar she is, but let's just hit the reset button on her and move her into a different direction. But Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Sorry I rushed through this. It is 2 o'clock in the morning and I got to get up in a little bit. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let me know in the comment section what you think the next feud should be for each of these women, and what are other matches going into WrestleMania that you would love for me to talk about what their feud should be post-Mania. Thank you so much for watching. Salute, peace, have a great day.